Welcome to Women Warriors. I'm Joyce Keller. With me is Jack Keller, and we're here for you live. And I think the most amazing thing about this show is that we've been here since 1987 doing this show for you, and it makes it probably the world's longest running show for body, mind, and spirit on radio, and probably the, the, the longest, I hate to say oldest, I don't want to say oldest radio host that you can find, but I probably am. So welcome to Women Warriors. I'm Joyce Keller, and that was Jack Keller who was just speaking with you. And we've been married a while. Let's say we recently renewed our vows, so not that the old ones wore out, but anyway, we are here for you, and if you have a problem or you'd like to join us, you can either email us at joycekeller@mindspring.com. I'll spell that for you. It's JoyceKeller at Mindspring. That's MINDSPRING.com, and our Blog Talk Radio call-in number is 347-324-3584. I'll give that to you again. It's 347-324-3584. And the show is very unique because it is live, as I said. And if you have a problem, a question, an issue, something going on in the news that you need to address, like I have a lot of questions about the oil spill, and I don't have a lot of answers about it. I think eventually it will be capped, but there'll be a new ocean floor throughout much of the world. It's really going to be quite pervasive. They do have to watch the Atlantis, I think it's called an oil well, which is even deeper and even more dangerous than the one that recently erupted. So we have some serious problems on the planet. But we're also here for your very personal problems as well. And that could be anything from looking for a soulmate to a relationship gone awry or whatever's on your mind. So indeed, we are Joyce and Jack Keller, and we're live every Wednesday from 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then the show is archived. So Blog Talk Radio picks it up, and it's archived or played indefinitely after that. Wanted to tell you, if you look at my screen, I don't know if the camera can pick it up because we are taping as well as on radio, so we're doing live audio and videotaping. So I have calls coming in, and as I see the emails coming in, I will try to address those questions and problems as well. And then we do the WGBB radio show also on Saturday nights from 5 to 6 o'clock on 1240 AM radio in the New York area. And then it's also going to be on Wednesday nights. There's so much to remember. I can't remember all that. Okay, I wanted to talk about a lot of things that are cropping up in the news and some things that people would rather not talk about, such as the old Raquel Welch adage that the brain is the biggest sex organ. One of my personal, I love Raquel Welch because she comes out and says it as it is. She wasn't always this honest, but now that she's old, she can say exactly what she's thinking. Jack, do you agree that the brain is the largest, most important sex organ? For women, not for men.
Well,
just for women.
That may be true in some cases, but basically that's where it starts. You've got to be thinking about it before you
Well, do men
do it.
I mean, I don't want to ask you, what do you mean do it? What does that mean?
Well, the mind directs. So if a man is all wrapped up in a ball game, he probably is not going to be interested in his wife at that particular time. So you see, even for men, the brain is the most important sex organ. That comes first.
That's so dishonest.
Really?
I think that for men, the brain doesn't have a lot to do with it. I think that with women, now men feel that if they're great lovers and they just approach women physically, that they're going to be so great and so good at this that the women are going to go, crazy sexually. And that's so wrong, because if you remember that movie Don Juan DeMarco, what was that? John Juan DeMarco, was that the name of it?
I believe so, yeah. Wonderful
with
movie.
Marlon Brando. It was a terrific movie, and the reason Don Juan had his choice of women. Is that he I don't know if he was a good lover. They never even addressed that part of it. But he made women feel fabulous. He approached them mentally.
He spoke to them.
He spoke to them. See, women have to be spoken to. That's the whole
Mm.
point. And if you think you can just be quiet and have a great sexual or great romantic relationship, it's not going to happen. Also, here's something I really wish more men would listen to the show because I have a lot to say about this.
Mm.
Sex doesn't start in bed. Sex starts the day before. And it starts when you're driving in the car. It starts when you're walking on the street. It starts when you're out to dinner. You don't just sit there eating. You have to really care about your sex life, and you care about the person you're with. You reach across the table, and you say, you look in the person's eyes, and you say, you look fabulous. You look wonderful. I love, you don't have to be specific, because men aren't good at being specific in most cases. But, say something really, really warm and tender to this person, because that's when sex really begins. Jack, am I right or wrong? Before we take a caller.
No, I think you're absolutely right. Yes, indeed. I mean, it starts with the mind, and next thing is speech.
Speech. That's so pragmatic. What do you mean,
Well,
speech?
Well, speaking to the gal, engaging in conversation and
Well, what would you say?
compliments and so forth.
I noticed last night you didn't say anything. We went to one of our favorite restaurants. This is our favorite restaurant in the whole world. You're not going to believe this. I don't even want to tell people about it because I don't want them to go because it's a small place, and then it'll be even more crowded than it is already.
Yeah.
But it's such a wonderful place. Should we say what it is? No. Jackson,
They
I
have
can't
enough
tell you.
business.
They have so much business. It's a Chinese place in Manhattan, I'll tell you that. And it's terrific. That's all I can say about it, because it's very small. We always have to wait for a table.
Maybe someday, if you continue to listen to the show, we'll tell you
We'll tell
the
you.
name of the
Oh,
and the
they don't
location of the
care.
restaurant.
They don't care. You can't bait them with that. Are you baiting
No.
them with that? Okay, so last night, so there we were sitting at a lovely table with paper over it, which is not particularly romantic, right?
Yeah. Well, no, it was okay.
You didn't even notice the paper, right?
No, it was fine. It was
You know,
fine.
the paper's good because you're bound to get stuff,
Yeah.
spare ribs.
You don't have to worry about getting something on the tablecloth.
Yeah, and I think it helps to save them money. They keep the prices very,
Sure.
very low. The prices are very low,
Yes,
by the
very
way.
reasonable.
And the food is very, very good. I didn't like what you had, though, I have to tell you.
Well, you see, here now we're talking about food. That's what we usually do when we go out. It reminds me of that movie. Speaking of movies, what was it called? The Plaza Suite?
Oh, yes, and
With
also
the,
Fatso. I love one of my favorite movies
Yeah,
is
but in the
Fatso.
Plaza Suite, there was an Italian family, and the son was getting divorced, and the father's saying, what's the problem? And,
What's the problem, Richie?
he said, well, I guess we're growing apart. We don't have much to talk about. He said, oh, we like your mom and I, we always have things to talk about. I said, yeah, what are you talking about? He said, oh, we talk a lot about food.
Food. How about talking about each other?
So there's always something to talk about it, but it's got to be more personal than that, I believe.
You should have it more personal. You're very good at this, Jack. This is why we've been together a long time. I get a big kick out of
I
you.
could be a lot better, really.
No. Well, we all could be better, but I think you're wonderful. I think you're so much better than most men who just sit there and they eat. Now, if you want to have a good time, you really should interact. You can tell who's been married for a long time. The people who come in and they just sit down and they just eat. They don't speak to each other. But there are a lot of people on dates who are like that too.
Yeah, a lot of men, I think, are very backward in the conversation area.
Hmm. But okay, I think people are trying harder though, and the purpose of the show is to work with those issues of relationships. And I think that what really counts if you're going to be talking to audiences and people is your own track record. All right, we haven't killed each other, which is very good. That's step number one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we're still on speaking terms.
Day is early.
The day is early.